In the golden age of post-war exploration, when the skies buzzed with the steady thrum of propellers and the seas churned with the cargo of a rebuilding world, a silent legend was being written on the waves. Off the eastern seaboard of America, a stretch of ocean between the sun-bleached coast of Florida, the isolated British outpost of Bermuda, and the tropical shores of Puerto Rico began to whisper its name. It wasn't on any map. It was a place defined not by coordinates, but by absence. This is the story of the Bermuda Triangle, a name that would come to evoke mystery, fear, and an undeniable fascination. Over the decades, this nebulous region would be blamed for the vanishing of planes, ships, and hundreds of souls, swallowed whole by an invisible, inexplicable force. Some called it a tragic coincidence of geography and human error, others called it cursed. The modern mythos began not with a ship, but with a squadron. December 5th, 1945. A clear, bright day, perfect for flying. At the U.S. Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 5 TBM Avenger bombers, powerful, rugged aircraft nicknamed Iron Birds, taxied for a routine training mission. It was called Flight 19. 5 experienced pilots and 9 crewmen, led by a seasoned instructor, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, were to undertake a simple navigation and bombing run. But something went wrong. About 90 minutes into the flight, the base intercepted confused messages. Taylor's compasses, both of them, had gone haywire. He was disoriented. The ocean, he said, didn't look right. It appeared white and strange. The transmissions grew more frantic. One of the student pilots was heard, his voice trembling, saying, "Don't come after me!" Then silence. A massive land and sea rescue operation was launched immediately. One of the rescue planes, a PBM Mariner with a 13-man crew, radioed its position, and then it, too, vanished from the radar. Witnesses on a nearby ship reported seeing a tremendous fireball in the sky. The official Navy report concluded the Mariner had exploded, a known risk for those aircraft. But for Flight 19, there was no wreckage, no bodies, no life rafts. 27 men and 6 aircraft were gone without a trace. The official entry simply read, "Cause unknown." The spark had been lit. Soon, the triangle began to claim other victims, or so it seemed. The stories poured in, layering mystery upon mystery. The commercial airliner Star Tiger, en route to Bermuda in 1948, vanished with 29 passengers and crew. A year later, her sister ship, Star Ariel, disappeared on a crystal-clear day. The ships, the SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a massive tanker, vanished in 1963 without a Mayday call. The USS Cyclops, a Navy cargo ship with 309 souls aboard, disappeared in 1918, one of the largest non-combat losses of life in U.S. naval history. President Woodrow Wilson would later say, "Only God and the sea know what happened to that great ship." Yachts were found adrift, meals still on tables, engines running, but not a soul on board. Modern-day Mary Celestes. The Triangle was no longer just a place. It was a graveyard, and every disappearance was a new headstone for speculation. In an era before GPS, navigation was a fragile art, and the Bermuda Triangle is a uniquely treacherous place. Science offers a catalog of plausible explanations. The region is one of only 2 in the world where a magnetic compass points to true north, not magnetic north. A navigational nightmare for the unprepared. The weather is notoriously unpredictable, with sudden violent storms that can appear out of nowhere. The powerful Gulf Stream current can swiftly carry any evidence of a disaster miles away, erasing the scene of the crime. But for many, standard science couldn't explain the sheer volume and strangeness of the events, so the theories multiplied. Oceanographers pointed to methane hydrates, vast reservoirs of gas trapped in the seabed that could erupt, reducing the water's density so drastically that a ship would lose buoyancy and sink in seconds. Meteorologists spoke of rogue waves, solitary walls of water, sometimes over 100 feet high, capable of breaking a supertanker in two. And then there were the more fantastical minds. They imagined gravitational vortices, tears in the fabric of space-time that could whisk a vessel into another dimension. They whispered of the lost city of Atlantis, its mythical power crystals lying on the ocean floor, disrupting technology and pulling travelers into its depths. They looked to the skies and saw alien abductors. The triangle became a Rorschach test for the paranormal. As the myth grew, so did the media frenzy. Charles Berlitz's 1974 book, The Bermuda Triangle, became a global bestseller, masterfully blending verified facts with unverified claims and outright fiction. Sensational documentaries dramatized every eerie disappearance. The legend was now a commodity. Pilots whispered about it in flight schools. Sailors toasted to safe passage in portside bars. Tourists on cruise ships would gaze out at the horizon, a thrill of fear and excitement, wondering what secrets lay beneath the waves. And yet, for all the drama, no definitive singular cause was ever found. Official bodies consistently dismissed the idea of a supernatural vortex, pointing instead to the mundane yet deadly trifecta: human error, mechanical failure, and the sheer volume of traffic in one of the world's most heavily traveled corridors. Some researchers have tried to strip away the mystery entirely, pointing to cold statistics that show the disappearance rate in the triangle is no higher, percentage-wise, than in any other comparable area of ocean. And maybe they're right. Maybe it is all just a perfect storm of coincidence, compounded by treacherous weather and the vast inherent unpredictability of the sea. But the legend endures, not because of the numbers, but because of the stories, the silence that follows them. A missing signal, a final confused radio call, a vessel that never arrives at port. It's the human element, the loss, the mystery, the unanswered plea that gives the triangle its power. Today, the waters are calm. Tourists sip cocktails on cruise decks, their phones pinging with satellite signals. Pilots chart smooth, digitally perfected paths through the sky above. The tangible danger, if it ever existed in the form of a supernatural vortex, has faded into myth. But the stories remain. They are tucked into water-stained logbooks, whispered in dockside bars between old sailors, and etched into the memories of the families who waited. It is a story without an ending, a mystery that still, even today, makes us look out at the vast blue horizon and wonder. If that sense of wonder is still lingering, then our mission here is accomplished. History is our greatest collection of mysteries, a mirror held up to our own endless curiosity. The Bermuda Triangle is just one enigma. Imagine what else is out there. Cities swallowed by sand, empires lost to time, and single days that altered the fate of millions. Subscribe now and join us every week as we bring history to life. animating the past to make understanding our story easier and far more thrilling. The past is whispering. It's time to listen. Subscribe, and we'll see you next week.